Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw ton of big wars breaking out all across Asia, but really, we saw World War IV kind of just start up out of nowhere. So, we're going to take a look at what the what World War IV is going to look like because, yeah. All right. So, World War IV. It started off as just a big like battle over here, and then it kind of spread over here, and we had a lot of communist and fascist nations kind of start fighting each other. But now we see the fascists and communists are all going up against each other. Some democracies in here and there. Alright, but let's get started. So, with this war breaking out, one of the big things about it is one of the big things about this war is that it's basically like fascists versus communists. I forgot to change something. So right as this war broke out, Ethiopia was actually communist. After being released from Eritrea, they went communist mode. So yeah. Alright. So like I said, this war is just communists versus fascists. Communist versus fascism. Over here with like Japan, Korea, and South China thing, or just like the East Asian Union. um, they don't really have set ideology, but we see this kind of not involving itself in this war. So there's that. But yeah, I don't think this ideology layer's been updated in a long while. So that's why some nations don't have an ideology. All right, now let's actually get started with this. But we're gonna start off up here, actually. As we see Caucasia is pretty much in a 1v4 right up here. They're surrounded by communist nations other than Crimea, who's democratic. So, let's start. Oops. To start off, we see Caucasia is actually going to do pretty well. They very quickly will be able to capture the capital of Azerbaijan, and they move in pretty far into this country. Actually, gonna turn off ideology. But they take out a lot of Azerbaijan. And in the north, we even see them taking out a lot of the Caspian lands, especially like up here in the north. Now, we do see these two nations here, they are both fascist, but they don't have anywhere to really send their troops into. And they also aren't really, neither of these two are really friendly with Russia, so, yeah, that's gonna be for later. You kind of see them just send their troops over these guys, although some of them don't make it. Most of them don't actually make it. But we do see some aid getting into Caucasia. Mm. Although those two together wouldn't even equal Caucasia's power. So yeah, the fascists aren't actually that strong in some areas. Mm. Down in Africa, we actually see Mesopotamia will involve themselves in only the African part. Same with Persia. They side with the communists. They're in this alliance with the communists. So yeah. But recently there was some fighting going on down here between Mesopotamian and Eritrean troops. Mm. We see the is recaptured, this time by Mesopotamia, and Persia will also move into this territory, taking over quite a bit. Mm. For actual Mesopotamia, we see them focus first moving in to Libya. Libya is one of the countries that kind of did genocides, but we see Mesopotamia being able to quickly cut off Libya from any northern access. Another democratic nation we see joining the communist side is going to be the Ma- Moroccans or West Africans, whatever you want to call them. Kind of forgot which countries over here were communist and fascist. Alright. Up here, we do see these three Scandinavian socialist countries joining. Estonia is Scandinavian socialist, even though it's not shown. So yeah. Alright. But we quickly see Denmark once again getting obliterated. They even lose these islands over here for once. Soon their capital is captured the by the Swedish. And they also lose this tiny piece of land here over to over to the Swiss. Right. Down here or over here, pretty quickly see the West Africans move into this part of the Dark Scion team. As we see, the Dark Scion team is almost instantly wiped out. The rest of their land is taken. Pretty much the rest of their land is taken by Gibraltar, other than the their capital area, which we see Galicia taking. Over here, we see Catalonia will very quickly move up into this. I don't know what to call these guys. South France. South France. Yeah, but the fascists don't really have a good hold much anywhere other than down in this part of Africa, and then Oceania. As we quickly come back over here, as the we see Istanbul here moving into Caucasia. And we see West France will also join this war, as they quickly will be able to capture the capital of the Green Fascist Nation. And despite this being World War, it's actually pretty leaning to the communists. That is until we head over to North America. We see both Brazil and West Mexico will kind of stay out of this war for now. Both of them are d- or every nation other than like these ones here are democratic. Like all of South America, other than the Caribbean owned parts, is democratic. So we don't really see much fighting elsewhere or anywhere else than here. But we do know that West Mexico has a hatred for Caribbean. Mm, So here we see Caribbean quickly will invade into their old ally, the old kind of ally, America. And actually I don't think America's actually part of this alliance. They are part of the crosses, but we see the crosses are actually they kind of do involve themselves in this war. There aren't really any countries that in the crosses that don't. Um, we do see the South American nations will stay out of this war. But, so Caribbean's or actually I'm gonna start calling these guys Appalachia. I think it was. I saw somebody called them Appalachia, and I kind of like that more. We see these two. They actually this is a lot more even than it should be. But we see another communist victory over here as the capital of this pink team is captured. All of these countries, oops, go on. All of these countries here kind of hate each other, but we see a lot of these smaller ones here are all communist, whereas the larger ones are fascist, other than America and the Midwest kind of country. So this war is a lot less even now, especially considering they have Caribbean here. But we are going to take a look at something we haven't really touched up on in a while. Which I forgot to pull it up, but never mind. We're gonna look at that in the episode. But we do see this actually being one of the quicker wars to happen, especially considering it's a world war. But we come down here now. We see it's really Tanzania, Sudan, and um the Kenyans versus Mozambique and Ethiopia down here. As we see Libya is kind of distracting themselves with firstly these guys and also then Mesopotamia, and Mesopotamia also is dealing with Eritrea. Uh, So oh, these guys here. Are they wait, I don't think they're no. Um I think these guys are actually supposed to be fascist. Yeah. So we see these guys turning fascists totally by normal and not by putting a new leader in place. Not by Tanzania putting a new leader in place down here. Mm. So this fight here is actually quite even, but we do see the communists are actually starting to win pretty quickly, as it doesn't take long at all for the capital of Kenya to be captured. However, down in the south, it doesn't go as planned for Mozambique. This is like the only spot where it is more like equal in the world. We see Mozambique, uh, three Mozambique major cities are captured. And moving up here, we see Tanzania. I guess Congo actually would be a better name for them. But either way, we see these guys also taking up quite a few major cities. In fact, they have a high military presence up in the north. However, Mozambique does have an advantage down here as they push their military into Tanzania here. They even make it up to capture this major city here. Both of these major cities. Did that? Alright. But now we see an unfortunate event for the Arrow Alliance. As we see Mesopotamia will now begin a push into Seafoam, Sudan. So we see Sudan having to now refocus their forces, especially after a major city is captured. So now Sudan's pulling out forces from down here. And actually, they really had their forces stationed or helping out this Angola, maybe? So we see Mozambique really start pushing these guys back. And we even see a Mozambique invasion happening over here, which does quickly capture a major city. Coming back up here now to Eritrea, we see them still being pushed out of Yemen, and eventually their forces are kind of split into two. We see this area with more major cities being lost, and eventually we see these guys are fully kicked out of the what's it called, out of Arabia. In case you cannot tell, I'm kind of losing my memory today. It's like the exact color I just used on. Alright. So now we see Mesopotamia pushing into Eritrea. Not just there, but we also see a naval landing made right here, and this island over here is taken. We see Ethiopia will begin to push their way north into these guys as well, taking over not one but two major cities. And now this is really starting to favor the communists. That is until Australian ships finally make their way over and a naval landing is made in Madagascar. Let's talk about some more non-World War IV stuff. Because of this war is actually going a lot faster than I thought it would. I I don't know, it's my first time doing this. So we're gonna take a look at another major event that happens. Which happens up here. A decently major event. We see a big union taking place between Alaska, British Columbia, this pink country, and this cyan country. I don't think that should affect any other nations. So yeah. Whoops. I keep accidentally doing that. Oh, that's fun. Is that South China's color? That's South China's OG color. Oops. Well, not anymore. They don't exist. Alright. So, but that will actually do it for today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. I know this was a rather quick episode, probably, but if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.